Welcome back to the Muddy River Tactical Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Mason, joined today by Brett and Kevin, as always. And this is our special Mother's Day episode. So we're going to share a few quick stories about our mom and how she used to hit us with a wooden spoon and all sorts of stuff like that. But kind of been a busy week here around Muddy River. We got some handcuff holsters that we've came out with, working on some other stuff. So the handcuff holsters are actually pretty cool, though, because they will attach to our sidecar holsters, or they're independent, and they're not designed for like a standard clip. They're more battle belt and like wing paddle type.
Yeah, they're
clip.
more of a duty type of situation.
But I don't know how well people can see on the camera here, but this is attached to our actual sidecar there, and we have tried these at all different carry positions, and they actually fit really nice. They conform to your body. Snap retention on the handcuffs. They go right in, right out. You can shake them really hard. So a lot of our cop friends have been asking for these for a while. So we're really excited to put these out. I'm not sure what they're going to go for on the website yet.
Probably right around the $40 mark, depending on what you do with it.
But I mean, like you said, these are duty ready. They're riveted down both sides. They've got our mountain and river logo on the front of them, which is something new we've started doing on. And we can't do it on every holster because there's not enough real estate on there, but
yeah, we can't change the dynamic and engineering of the holster to make sure that shows up. So it shows up better on some than it does others.
And we're working on a AR mag right now also. We'll probably talk about next week. And that's a bigger footprint. So we've got a little bit bigger mountain and river in there. And that's going to look actually really cool when we get that done too. But it'll be the same kind of deal. Not that everybody wants to carry those attached to a sidecar, but it's definitely an option. And
it just gives them the option because it's the same piece no matter what they do. They can put the Tech Lock or Blade Tech Stingray loops or whatever they want on the back of it, or put it on there if you have the Frontier holster already. So it's just going to be I think the way we're going to do it is sell it as a
individual
product
piece
by itself with your choice of belt loop. And then if you want to put it on your Frontier after the fact, you can. Because I don't think a majority of the people are going to... It's a different market. You know, I don't want to confuse everybody ordering the Frontier with,
right,
do I get the mag in this or whatever. So we'll probably do it as a separate piece.
Yeah, and that'll attach. I know the drawing a blank here. The Tech Locks, they attach to the molly webbing. We've done that before too, so they should fit on guys' vest. Any other platforms they may have already. Vest, battle belts are pretty much what they're designed for.
And that hole pattern is also good for, you know, whatever attachments you want. It'll attach to pretty much any attachment on the market, whether it's Safari Land or whatever.
Absolutely.
So even if it's an attachment we don't sell, it will most likely work on that mounting hole.
How awesome is it to realize now, compared to 5-6 years ago, to just be able to make our own?
Yeah, when you're in control of engineering the molds, that's what held us back before. Is we were no different than the handcuffs. Remember how many times we tried to make handcuffs, and it's just a royal pain every time because we weren't making our own molds. We were trying to model off of something else and adjust something else.
Well, we have Kyle on board now, which, no offense, me and you, we weren't doing this. We weren't going to be creative enough.
But it's a team effort too, because I didn't bring over the original one. So one of the things I wanted on these was a wider lip for putting in your handcuffs. So it's not direct diameter, it ramps it in there. So the guy can reholster his handcuffs easily. But I take it over to Brett. Kevin, you were out running around. I think you're at the zoo or something. But I take it over to Brett, and Brett's like, that's awesome, but you can't get them out. And I started looking at it. I was like, you know what? You're right. So we re-engineered it, put a dip in here so you can easily, and you can see, you can get these handcuffs out. You can get your finger in. It's not so big it's going to catch on everything. But if you're trying to wrestle with the suspect or whatever, you can easily get these out and get them on the suspect and get them under control. So it's really a team effort that goes into designing all this stuff, because what I might not think of, you guys do.
Well, and it's just getting us closer to the one-stop shop for the holster type stuff, because a lot of guys we've sent people to get not mag holsters, the handcuff holsters other places, and they're getting a subpar quality product for the same $40 or $50, and then it just opens up Kyle being able to do that, the 3D scanning, all the technology that we've gained in the last couple of years has just opened up to do this and a lot more things coming as well.
It's just awesome for me on the gun shop side, because I speak to the customer every day. and I don't have to. The story has changed from the last 5 years. From I don't know if we'll ever get to that. Hopefully one day, to now it's we can get there. What are your ideas from that customer? We can utilize those ideas and make that product ourselves. That's just I hate to
It's almost like setting trends instead of following the trends of what. Because by the time we could get the molds from somebody else, there's already other people.
Oh yeah, I hate to be this cliche, but it's that American dream that really has come true for you as the owner, but for everybody involved because they get to make their ideas come reality.
Yeah, so, no different than that Frontier holster. The old way we did stuff, we could never do that with repeatability.
Absolutely.
Which is why we never did them, to be quite frank.
And, on that, we're working on some other stuff right now. Like, we've been kicking around the idea of doing suppressor holsters, not for a suppressor pistol with it on, but the guys that go out to the range, you're going to throw it in a bag, you're going to throw it somewhere, it's going to get banged around. If we can have a sidecar attachment or an independent belt attachment, vest attachment for your suppressor, where you can carry it with you and you're not having to just throw it around, get it banged around, and it's readily available to take on or off.
In a backpack where it's supposed to be instead of $1,000 suppressor rolling around in the bottom of your backpack. And
yeah,
it'll be more one of those, I won't say novelty because people will use it, but with suppressors getting more and more popular with the lead times coming down, I think you're going to see a lot more people using them, not for the concealed carry market, but just for range. And like if you go to the range, what are you going to do? Go set it on the table? Have some type of option where at least it's protected as well.
My biggest one is, and when I got my suppressor, I didn't research enough. So mine's heavy. It's not titanium. It's I think it's steel or whatever. So it adds a lot of weight and it's hard to get on and off like the side-by-side. So I end up unscrewing my suppressor when I'm going out deer hunting, wait until I get to the blind, then screwing it on. But again, I'm throwing it in a bag where if I had something like this, I could throw it on my belt and carry it with me and be good to go. So, Kevin, you had a video this week, and I know I've been getting this a lot, so I just wanted to throw it out there. TLR7A versus the TLR7X. There's not a ton of difference. The holsters fit the same.
Yeah, so they can go watch the full video on YouTube. I just did it, and I did one on the Olight versus the other day. We're going to do a lot of comparison videos on lights because not a lot of people are doing it from the holster standpoint of concealed carry. You'll see a lot of videos on lights of, this lumen versus this lumen and not showing it being used other than in a black room. Well, that's great, but most people are more worried about how they're going to carry it, how it fits on their gun, how it's going to impact them. So we're going to kind of do more real world comparisons as far as the concealed carry market goes. But on the 7A versus 7X, the A is already is being pushed out. So I've heard a lot of people that are ordering the A and are getting the X. So they're just kind of updating the model. What's frustrating to me for Streamlight is not necessarily for me, but for our customers is the confusion that these companies give their customers for everything else. The A and the X, identical light, except for the X takes a rechargeable battery, which they don't even send it with the rechargeable battery, which is
don't get me started.
Asinine to me, but whatever. Okay, so they give them a little scotch of an upgrade, but and I had somebody ask me, and I didn't really think about it. So you can buy their rechargeable battery. Well, what would stop you from buying a CR123A rechargeable battery and putting it in the regular TLR7A?
You can.
So, they're really not giving you much new and confusing the hell out of customers because now they think A and X is a whole different light. So the video is more or less just saying they're the same light, fit the same holsters.
Same lumen,
great
all
light.
That, same
I'm not saying the light's bad, but they added a whole nother.
So it's not like the sub where it has the different buttons and that you can swap out.
No, so if you look at the regular Streamlight TLR7 that first came out, it was junk. It was junk because the buttons on the side of it, which I talked about a little bit in that video. So them going from the TLR7 to the TLR7A was 100% what they should have done and is right and worth confusing the customer on. But this one, it doesn't make sense to me. And it's not a knock on Streamlight, but
They're
just the truth.
They just want the light to match all the X's, like in the handgun world. The
it's
43X.
It's almost like they didn't have anything new to come out with, so they're like, oh,
well, and the
change this to X.
only reason I can think of for not shipping a battery with it is some bean counter. You know, whenever you get a box with the battery, you have to throw that special label, and it's probably a hazmat shipment, so it probably costs them another $2 to ship every one of them.
But if your whole selling point of a light is it's now rechargeable,
but
you don't
sure.
send them a rechargeable light, you look like a doofus.
Yeah. It's
that'd be like us saying, here's an inside waistband that you wear inside the waistband, but not send them the belt clip for it.
Yeah. Well,
Which
I'm not even going to make the joke.
Yeah. Well,
that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah. Which can happen when you send out as many holsters as we do, but not purposely.
Right. Yeah, not intentionally.
On that, this is we can just roast Matt because he's been there long enough, and so this was 2015, 20. I was still working down there, obviously. Matt was working up here, and we were in the old plumbing shop. We had the shop, and you guys know the story. I'd worked all day. He shipped stuff. I'd come up back and finish stuff in the evening, whatever. So I get a call from a customer one day, and I was actually working at the other place. And they're like, and there's an older gentleman. You can tell he's like trying to be super nice about it. But he's like, this holster's really nice. I'm like, oh yeah, that's great. Glad you like it. But he's like, I got one problem. I'm like, okay, what's that? He goes, how do I attach it to myself? And I'm thinking, like, you never know. I'm like, send me a picture. It just had no belt loops on it. So Matt sent this guy an outside the waistband holster and was so busy, and back then he was by himself he probably was by himself at that point.
Right.
And just forgot to put the clips on it at the end. So it's just funny. A guy telling you, well, that's nice, but what do I do with it? Type of thing.
So this week, like every week before we get too far, War Horses for Veterans, WHFV.com sponsors this episode. We are very thankful for them. They had their best derby party to date. So I'd like to think maybe we helped in some small part of directing some traffic to them. But in all seriousness, they do enough great work on their own. They don't need our help to make them look good. But they raised a ton of money. They're going to be able to do a lot of different stuff this year. So Brett was super thankful for everybody that came out to that. So he wanted me to tell you guys thank you. And
we need to get with those table guys.
Yep, got to get this. It's Smith and West Stun, not West Sun.
Oh.
So, and they're out of Wichita, and they make custom tables.
Well, even though I'm a gun guy, I catch myself sometime saying Smith and West Stun because you're just used to that instead of West.
Well, if you do that, you'll get the table guys, which you're going to be really happy with that table too. So we got to get them on, and Kindle Game and also Chiefs Long Snappers wanting to come on. So if you guys like the Chiefs, I know we got people from across the country, but Kendall's probably going to come on and talk about just him growing up playing sports and the transition from, being a youth athlete to a professional athlete to life after athletics. So it'll be really cool to talk about somebody that's lived a life and been through it. And, just about everybody listening has kids playing sports or knows somebody in youth sports. So it's not necessarily guns, but it's going to be definitely pretty cool too.
Well, I think it also speaks to a lot of point. If you look to a lot of those athletic guys and stuff where they never quit, they're always bettering themselves. It kind of proves our point that we talk about training all the time where we got guys that goes, well, why do you always talk about training? Well, you shouldn't shoot once and then think you're done forever. So it's...
Oh, for sure.
It's what it takes to get to the next level in a different arena in sports.
So this week, we got Mother's Day coming up Sunday. We're a little bit late filming this week, so we're filming Thursday on the clock to get this posted today, but Mother's Day is this weekend, so we're just going to give a shout out to all the moms out there. If you're a mom and you're listening, thank you for listening. Kevin and I were going to share a couple quick stories about our wooden spoon toting mom and kind of go from there.
She can say what she wants and love her to death, but she beat the shit out of us with that spoon, and she tells the grandkids she didn't.
I remember she whooped your ass in the middle of Bob's IGA. We're going down the frozen food aisle, and he's like, Mom, I got to pee. And Kevin was...
I still remember this.
He's always trying to, run around or whatever. And she's like, no, we're going to get in and out. And like being 40 now, I get it.
I didn't want to... I wanted to go to like the cereal aisle or something. I didn't want to be in the frozen foods. Yeah. So I'm like, I got to pee. She's like, no, you don't.
He's like, no, Mom, I'm going to pee on the floor. And he starts going, and I don't even know where this move came from, but he, like, lifts up one leg and, like, touches his finger underneath and, like, back and forth down the whole aisle.
All the way down the aisle, and everybody's looking at me.
Acting a fool in front of a whole aisle.
The sad part is I pictured Jake right now doing that 100%.
100%. But the problem with Jake is you get on him and he looks at you cross-eyed, and what do you even say to him?
Yeah, you
like,
feel bad.
She was like Clint Eastwood, though. She would have whooped his ass in the middle of that frozen food aisle. I was like, I don't got to pee.
The couch story's even funnier, though.
Oh, so, yeah, we grew up in a duplex, half of a duplex, right by Mackin Park. My mom and dad owned it, and they rented out one side, so we lived in, probably 700 square feet on that side. I mean, it was 2 tiny bedrooms, the tiniest bathroom you've ever seen. They had like a utility room is what they called it, but the washer and dryer barely fit in there. A kitchen that's about the size of this table that we're sitting at, and probably a 10 by 10 living room. And the 4 of us lived there, so there's no storage. We didn't have a bunch of extra stuff, but living in this small house. So growing up in the late 80s, early 90s like we did, and same thing with you, we were outside all the time. And Mom and Dad worked and didn't want to, couldn't afford babysitters during the summer, and we really didn't want to go to one anyway, so they leave us at home by ourselves, unattended. Well, normally we're playing football and doing all this kind of stuff. Well, this day it's raining, and we're inside watching CMT and like the line dancing live from the Silver Horse or whatever.
Wasn't it like MTV back in the day?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's when they actually played videos.
Yeah.
They were, not just. Well, I'm not even going to get into what they play now on MTV, but so, right, we want to play football. We can't go outside. So from our bathroom, if you started in our bathroom, you'd run right past the bedroom, and then the couch was in a perfect line. And then it was kind of like L-shaped to the other side of the living room. So we get this brilliant idea. We're going to do diving catches onto the couch. And this is the 1980s grandma couch that you like wooden frame, and it's got like the 4 screw-in little post legs on the corner. And how old were we? We were probably 10, 12, somewhere
in that range. Yeah.
Not real old, but old enough where we weren't little boys, so we're pretty heavy. So we're running and diving through the air. The other one chucks the football across the living room, and you're making these landing catches on the couch. Well, we did that for hours. And every time we felt the couch kind of, giving a little bit, we're like, all right, well, was it you that dove when it finally went?
I don't remember if it was you or me, but.
So one of us is diving, and the couch just goes wham, flat down to the ground, broke the legs off of the couch. And we're like, oh, shit.
But it's only one side.
Yeah, it was like that one corner leg.
Yeah.
I still have that leg. Do you know that to this day?
I didn't know that.
When we threw away the couch, I kept the leg. So it broke off this leg, but the couch is down on the ground. And we're like, oh, shit, Dad's going to kill us. Dad didn't have the best temper always. So we're like, oh, shit. So we're like, what are we going to do? So engineers here, we're like propping this leg up on the couch, and we're like, all right, don't sit on it the rest of the day. And so we're like, all right.
Well, let's just say glad he's better at engineering now than he was then, or we wouldn't have got our ass.
If I had a CNC machine, it would have never happened. So we get this couch propped up, and we're like avoiding it like the plague. We had like Mickey, the little Yorkie at the time. We're keeping the 5-pound dog off of the couch.
Gonna do it.
It's like if anything touches this thing, it's like a fart in the wind. It's gone. So Mom gets home, and nobody sat on the couch, and it's like 7:30 at night. It's like, shit, yeah, we got this thing made. So I remember I'm in our room watching TV, and he's out there in the living room with them. Mom goes and sits down on the couch, and wham!
And I'm purposely not sitting on the couch. Like I sit over
You're
on
sitting
the floor.
Indian style on the floor. So I hear wham from my bedroom. I'm like, all right, it's game time. Let's play this cool, right? And Mom's like, well, I know I'm heavy, but not that heavy. And she starts laughing about it. Dingbat over here's like,
it's like a deer in the headlights.
Like terrified.
Well, I didn't want to look at her. If I turned my head from Dad, I might have got popped in the back of the head.
Yeah, Dad's sitting
I want
there,
to see it
like,
coming.
So I'm like, all right. So all I hear is, Kevin, you better tell me what happened right now. And dude, he was singing like a church man. Just, I was like, oh shit. So I'm like, what do I do? So it's game time for me now. I hear her coming towards my room. And she's like, Kyle, what happened to the couch? I said, what couch? Knowing damn well we had one couch in the whole house. And Dad is so mad right now. Dad smoked at the time. He's outside on the front porch, chain smoking cigarettes because he's going to kill us if he comes back in.
Yeah, why was he going to kill me? It's more your fault.
I don't know.
Mine.
Oh, no. It was all your fault.
I swear to God, for probably 8 years. Well, it was until we moved out to Kansas. We had that couch. Mom had it propped up on like a can of peas because a can of peas was the same size as that lake. So we had a couch stacked up on canned vegetables for years.
Which here's the crazy. If we would have went outside, there's bricks all around.
Oh, yeah.
The duplex. We could have put 2 bricks under there and nobody would have ever known until we moved out.
For sure. Yeah, we should have came up with something better than just propping it up and hoping for the best.
Well,
this is what you guys are relying on for R&D over here.
The truth is if you would have just played it off like she actually broke it when she sat down, it would have been
That's
all
hard
right.
when you're in the crossfire and getting your ass whacked upside the head and looking at her.
Yeah. Well, and my dumbass was like, "What couch?" I'm like, "Oh, I would have killed my kids." You idiot! You know,
as soon as that would have happened to us, any of us, we would have known instantly.
Oh, for sure. So that was pretty good. Kevin, I don't know if you want to talk about the last one on that list of things I have to talk about or not, but maybe our cousin had that happen to him, or
Well,
it's probably past the statute of
right.
limitations.
Let's just say,
So Kevin, his whole life, like, he hasn't been like the long-term big picture guy. Kevin, well, he's gotten better, like now owning the business, but I used to tell him all the time, it's like, you never think about anything before you do it. Kevin would be like, ooh, something shiny, like Jake, and just go do it. Numbnuts here, did he get them from Uncle Chip?
uh-huh.
So our uncle would get fireworks. He owned a transmission shop and get them from some guy in wherever that made them in his bathtub.
They were back when the quarter sticks were real quarter sticks,
yeah.
not...
It's when farmers used them for birds and stuff like that.
So
These weren't your buy at the gas station.
So
stuff.
our uncle, you were like 15 at the time?
I wasn't even that old. I wasn't even driving. Mom had to drop me off there.
So I don't know if you've been to the movie theaters out off of 435. What is it, Midland Drive or whatever out there? Mm-hmm. So he goes with his buddy. Mom drops him off to a movie at like 7:30 at night, like on a Friday night. It's busy. In the middle of the freaking parking lot is a FedEx drop box where you can drop packages off. You guys left the movie early or something? You got bored? And
I don't think we ever went to the movie.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we were probably smoking cigarettes and doing other kid stuff.
So go ahead. This is your story.
So we got to thinking it's busy. And it wasn't as busy because everybody that was supposed to be in the movies was in the movies. But there's cars everywhere. So I had 2 of these in my pocket. So I'm like, well, and of course, we're both, oh, yeah, let's go. We're smart enough not to do it to somebody's, like, car or something around that. So we're like, we can't do it in the parking lot or whatever. And everywhere around it was, like, stores and stuff.
Oh, yeah. There's restaurants. Like, it's not a discreet place to do anything.
So there's a drop box there. And in my defense, it wasn't labeled. It had FedEx on the top, but it wasn't like a full on now like they're wrapped in FedEx or whatever. Mm-hmm. So the kid I was with was like, well, let's just put it in there, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess okay, whatever. So literally put it in there, run behind the car, look. It was the stupidest shit I ever done. I wish we could recreate a video of it happening. Because if you've never seen a door on a FedEx box or a mailbox, not the top door, the big bottom empty door, literally not come off the hinges, but like explode from the middle and tear out the hinges.
It's like a breaching charge.
Oh. Terrible idea. Super cool to watch. Long story short, luckily there was no mail in there.
Because it would have been a felony.
Yeah, then I wouldn't have an FFL. We'd be a holster maker with no FFL because we couldn't have guns.
But the best part, they blow it up with witnesses and did not leave. They went and started smoking cigarettes beside the building. So the cop shows up, and he's a big cop. And didn't he rough you up a little bit?
Yeah.
Well, you had it coming.
Yeah, I had that one coming.
Hey, you got karma's coming.
But I remember, Mom. Isn't that when Mom drove you around until like 4 a.m. bitching at you in the car about it?
No, that's
yeah.
We'll get to that story real quick, just because it's funny on the mom side. It's not, kids being dumbass kids. I wasn't driving yet. I was 15, but my buddy was. He just turned 16. Well, we had been to some party or something. And then he lived in Northtown. We went back, and we had like one beer, which shouldn't drink and drive, whatever. I'm not condoning that or whatever. But he had one beer, or we did, and then some girls all the way back from Kansas were like, oh, well, come here or whatever. So we drive all the way back to Kansas from North Kansas City.
Like 25-minute drive.
Yeah. Well, in Merriam, we happened to get pulled over because Knucklehead was going too fast. Gets pulled over. Long story short, we all get an MIP. Well, he got a DUI because he was driving. But everybody else in the car, including these 3 girls and another guy or whatever, everybody in the car got an MIP. Well, this is like 12:30 at night. So, and the cop was actually being pretty cool, whatever. Because we were nice to, we were in the wrong. We weren't.
Yeah, you got caught. Oh, well, it's over now.
So, they take us back, and there's 5, 6 of us, however many there was. And they got us in the
drunk tank thing?
Yeah, the drunk tank thing. And I can hear him call Mom. I'm like, oh, here we go.
And didn't he say, this is Officer
Yeah,
so-and-so?
she goes, this is Officer whoever with Merriam Police Department. I have your son. And I didn't find this out now. And then I seen him like with a weird look on his face. I'm like, I wonder what she said. Like, leave my ass here. Mom goes, which one? Which makes her sound like parent of the year. So, anyways, about an hour later, she shows up, and you know how she's stomping in there. You know she's mad. I'm like, okay, yeah, I know she's gonna be mad, but so I'm trying to be nice. I'm like, Mom, this is so and so.
Introducing Mom to the girls in the drunk tank.
Introducing to other people. I don't give a shit who that is. So by this time, it's like 3:00 in the morning. She's so mad. She doesn't want to go back home. We're driving in circles like Shymister Parkway, Neiman, Shymister Parkway, blah, 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 like circles for like hours and just blah, 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 blah. Like okay, I get it.
Like, I would have had another couple beers if I wouldn't have known this was going to happen.
After like 2.5 hours, I'm like, can we please just go home? But the best part of the story is which one?
Oh, yeah.
At 1:00 when the cops are calling her.
Well, and it was funny because Kevin got caught for every single thing he ever did.
He did 10 times worse stuff than I did and just never got caught.
Well, but we go back to, I had a little bit of pre-planning before I would go TP somebody's house. And it was not, we weren't robbing stores or stealing cars. We were doing stupid stuff like
kids stuff.
Yeah, like maybe borrowing Christmas ornaments and putting them in somebody else's yard. Yeah. Just stupid stuff. Like,
didn't you guys flower people's yards?
Oh, we flowered or forked their yards, or like if you get wildflower seeds and go chuck them in people's yards.
The other good one is farming people's yards. So Kyle, in his younger days, was dating this girl, and they happened to live up the road from where I was staying. So we went and farmed her yard because
in the middle of the night.
I hated her. It was like 3:00 in the morning. Then I don't know. Did you act like you knew it was me?
I was like, I don't know. And then it was like, they were doing that.
It was a good time.
So yeah,
we have it all coming with our kids, though. I promise.
Oh, for sure. And like that's why when they try and tell me something else, like, dude, like you think I don't know what's going on here, and like, we're just lucky we grew up before Ring cameras were on everybody's front door.
And the problem with it now is that the kids, what is innocent kid stuff, everybody takes to a crazy level now. And like, it's not like it used to. No different than fighting in school. When we were in school, you fought, you got your problem done, and there's never a problem afterwards.
Yeah.
Now, if you tap somebody, they're in ISS for 2 weeks and getting...
Oh, wanting to sue you or doing anything.
It's not the same world we lived in before.
Yep. And I will say on the Mother's Day thing, I know all 3 of our wives very well. We are all very fortunate men. So to Tabby, Julie, and Michelle, happy Mother's Day to you guys. You guys are all fantastic. I know when we had Brantley, one of the things I'll never forget about Michelle is we had Brantley, and we'd tried for 7 years to get pregnant, had some issues, whatever. So Brantley was born a month early, and up at the hospital, and I'm not going to name which local hospital because it doesn't matter. But
yeah, that was terrible.
Oh, so we're up there, and a month early, he's born, and they take her and they take him over to the ICU. So, like, I'm cutting the cord and doing all that, and, like, his chest is, like, caving in, like, when he's breathing. I'm like, this isn't good.
Yeah, they're going to transport him.
And so they take him over, and they're like, well, we need to go get him on oxygen. They're like, do you want to carry him? I was like, yeah, I'll carry him. So I carry him over, and the nurse that's putting the oxygen on, like, put him on 2 liters. She didn't know how to turn on the oxygen. I was like, ma'am, I'd really appreciate it if you'd let me do that. she's like, you know how to do this? I was like, I work with oxygen every day. I was like, please let me do this. She's like, okay. So we do this. The doctor comes in. And she's like, well, we may need to transport him to Children's Mercy. I was like, I think that'd be a great idea. She's like, and Michelle still has not seen or held Brantley at this point.
Which is probably good because before they transport him, me and Julie were there.
You came in and you're like,
and they're like, you want to see him? I'm like, well, yeah. And then I'm like, well, shit, I didn't really want to after that. I mean, it was terrible.
So the doctor comes in, well, we're going to transport him. And she's like, well, just go tell your wife. I was like, no, ma'am. You're going to go tell my wife why we're transporting her newborn kid that she hasn't seen yet. Because she's going to have questions that I'm not going to be able to answer. So you're coming with me on this one. So we go in, we talk to her, and she's upset. So the first time she sees him, they're wheeling him in the clear transport case, and it's got all the oxygen run to it and all that. And she'd had a C-section. They're like, well, it'll be a couple days before you're up and able to go see him. That next morning, she's like, I will check myself out of the hospital. Went down there the next day, fresh C-section, had to wheel her in and out in a wheelchair. Mm-hmm. So, but
I've got a similar situation with Tabby and I, with our first, Bailey. She was 2 months early. Maybe mine and Tabby's fault, maybe not. We'll go a little bit into that story, but we decided to go on a motorcycle ride one day all around Perry Lake. There used to be a motorcycle rally up around that area. All day was fine. Next day we had a family dinner, and I had just got done rebuilding the Yamaha Banshee. And
super good for pregnant.
Oh yeah, super good. And we literally get on the 4-wheeler and go to take off and Tabby falls off.
Oh gosh.
Oh yeah, it wasn't good. Now looking back, we can laugh at it, but at the time,
oh, that's scary. Yeah,
yeah, it was brutal.
Then to be that far, be out
there.
Oh
yeah,
too.
So we rushed to the hospital. We sat there at the hospital for hours and hours. I can't remember exactly what it was, and she just kept having these pains. And long story short, she had some complications. She was having contractions, and she had been having them for a while, like that whole week, like even before this happened. But then, like, I don't know, they tore something inside. They had to, deliver emergency C-section, blah, blah, blah. But while we're doing that, I'm watching the whole C-section. I don't know if you watched your wife's or not, or you probably never had.
It's more violent than I thought it was going to be. That table's shaking. I mean, it's like a horror movie.
I mean, they literally look like they're taking parts out of her, putting them in Tupperware right beside her body.
I don't think I could watch it. I don't like the dentist.
No, I didn't think so either, but you have to, in my mind.
Well, and they told me, because Brantley was over at the foot, they're like, whatever you do, don't look back. Well, you can't tell me that. And like, I understand why people pass out, because if I had never deer hunted, it would have been a shock. But I turn and look back, and they've got everything open, so you can see inside the cavity, and her intestines are laying on the table next to her.
She doesn't believe me. That's what I'm trying to tell her. Like, literally, they're taking you out and putting you in a Tupperware right beside you. And she's like, and you watch? And I was like, and they kept telling me, you can sit down, and they had a curtain in front of her. And I was like, I'm committed now, and so we're watching all that. But to get to the similar story, is Bailey was 2 months early, premature, and we watched her, and it took them 10 minutes to get her to breathe on the table, just sitting right there 15 feet away from Tabby. As Tabby's getting, I don't even remember watching Tabby anymore. I just sit there and watch, and it felt like a lifetime. So I'm right there with you. I've been through a similar situation. One of her lungs didn't develop, and that's what was
okay.
So
did they do all the surfactant and stuff? In her
I
lungs?
don't know the names. It was it was some type of steroid shot or whatever they gave her, and they only have like 3 tries they can give her for that lung to start developing. And so it was a long story short, but she was in the NICU and in an incubator for 6 weeks or something like that.
The weird thing, and I didn't think it's weird because Brantley obviously got better being in the NICU, but you'd be down there and you'd see other parents and their kids weren't getting better, and you felt so bad for these other new parents. And like the kid I'll never forget right next to Brantley, he wasn't getting better, and I think his parents were like 19. They were young kids, and they were from Manhattan, which was like 2 hours west here, hour and a half west of here, and they couldn't be there all the time. So I can't imagine having to go back to work and like. It'd be terrible. Yeah,
so Tabby, I mean, as a mom, she sat down there the whole time. Like I said, she was in the NICU for, I believe, 6 to 8 weeks. I can't remember. She was in there a long time. We'd come in some days, and she'd have a feeding tube in her forehead. And it was weird, or IV in her forehead. I don't know if it's feeding tube. Obviously, that would be weird. But Like some just weird things, like they just put it right in the top of her head, and like, nah, that's not gonna work. You're gonna have to figure something else out.
Right.
And you just don't have any control over your own kid. So I can only imagine being a mom, going through all that and then sitting there watching all that at the same time. So,
and the bottom line is we give our wives and mom and everybody a lot of shit, but they're way tougher than we are. I promise you.
For sure.
Like the crap, like Julie and her sciatica and stuff she had with all the pregnancies. I'm like, if I had that once, I wouldn't do that again.
Right.
But then to do it and then chase after kids and do everything they still do it is pretty crazy.
Pretty incredible. That and just their ability to keep us online, because we're all pretty easygoing and we hold back a lot, but they know how to get it out of us when, you may be hiding something you're not wanting to talk about. So we're all really lucky, in those aspects. So speaking of Mother's Day, and Kevin, I'm giving away free shit, so I hope you don't mind.
It's all right. If you guys see me disappear, I got a meeting to go to here in a minute.
Yep. So we're going to do, Brett, and sorry I'm giving away shit from your gunshot, but we'll do a free purse or holster for somebody, for their mom. Don't get one for you. But if your mom conceals carries, you've got a wife that conceals carries, we'd love to give somebody a purse or something for them to conceal carry. Just shoot us over an email to support at Muddy River. Tell us why you think your wife, mom deserves a free purse, holster, and we will give one away to somebody and hopefully make somebody's Mother's Day a little bit better. And if you don't win, we sell them all the time. I don't know if they're on the website yet, but we can get you in touch with a purse or holster for.
I have a couple in stock right now. So
okay, so we got our promo code, which is MRT Podcast. Speaking of which will get you 15% off everything on the website. Not guns, not the grizzly blinds, unfortunately. But if you want a new handcuff holster, any kind of the holsters,
anything we manufacture,
anything we make. Again, we got War Horses for Veterans, which is WHFV.com. They do a lot of work. Again, they were very thankful for everybody that supported the Derby party. Keep watching their videos. Keep watching the stuff. Do you guys got anything else you want to talk about real quick while we're here?
Nope. I think that does it. Just we're trying to get the lead times down on the light bearing and Frontier holsters. The more of these molds we get done, the lead time will start coming down. So I appreciate you guys bearing with us on the lead time. We've always been known for fast lead times, but we're trying to get customers options that they've never had before. And with that comes some change on our end. And it's getting better. And
one last thing, if you guys have any attachments, sidecar attachments that you're wanting out there, tourniquets, there's a lot of them, I know. There's a lot of brands, and they're really difficult to manufacture. There's moving parts that go into
tourniquets, there's some that we can carry. We're a dealer for that big one. I can't remember what it is.
So we may look at doing that. They're pretty popular, and I think some of the guys may have a use for those. So, again, we're looking at doing suppressors. We've got AR mags we'll talk about next week. So anything you want to carry on there, I don't know if there's like a specific flashlight a lot of people carry. I think there's so many flashlights.
Anything you'd like to see, shoot us an email, and we got a request list that's always going. We can't promise we'll make everything just because of engineering, tooling, machine costs, time, blocks, all add up. It's got to be something that's going to sell. But if it's something that makes sense, we're absolutely always open to it.
Again, well, to all the moms out there, thank you for all you do. You are rock stars. Happy Mother's Day. Make sure to email support at Muddy River. Tell us why your wife, mom, girlfriend, whoever deserves a free purse or holster, and we'll get them set up. And Kevin, you want to go ahead and wrap us up?
Yep. Thank you guys for everything. As always, if you need us, always shoot us an email, support@muddyrivertactical.com. And until next time, keep practicing and always be prepared.